Hello everyone, welcome to another KTaNE module tutorial, this time Chilli Beans. On the module you'll see 16 chili beans, they have the colors yellow, orange, red or white, and each of these correspond to a value. To solve this module you'll have to do certain calculations, and then press a bean with a valid value. Let's just start with an example. So we write down the values of each of the beans on the module. 3011, 2100, 2120, and 3110. Now for the first stage, you just press the bean with the lowest value that is first in reading order. In this case, that's the lowest value present is a 0, and the first one in reading order is at position 2, so we press it. Now, there is no more bean there. Now we increment all the tiles by a value of 1. So this 3 becomes a 4, these ones become 2s. This is 3, 2, 3, 1. This is 4, 2, 1. Anytime a 4 is present in this grid, or anything higher than that, you subtract 4 from it, and increment all of its neighbors by 1. And with neighbors I mean orthogonal neighbors. So this 4 gives one of its value here, one of its value there, and 2 of its value gets lost to neighbors it doesn't have because it's in the corner. Same with this 4. This becomes a 0. It drops a value off here, but it can't because it's an empty space. It loses 2 value because it's a corner. And this gets incremented by 1. This 4 becomes a 0. This becomes a 1. This becomes a 3. This becomes a 5. This 5 becomes a 1. And that's why that rule is in place of 4 or more. Finally, we get this grid, because there's no more force presence or anything higher than that. And the lowest value present is a 1. We can't press any bean that is in the same row or column as any of the beans we've already eaten. So the next valid bean to eat is bean number 5. Now this bean is no longer present. Finally, we increment the entire grid by 1 once more. 2, 4, 4, 2. 2, 4, 3, 2. Double checking. Okay. So this 4 becomes a 0, this becomes a 3, this becomes 5, 5, 5. And here you see a lots of 5s, doesn't really matter. This becomes a 3, this becomes a 1, this becomes a 4, this becomes a 1, eliminating the 5 here. This becomes a 1, drops one of its value off here, one of its value off there. This becomes a 1, drops one of its value off here, one here, one here, one here. This becomes a 1, this becomes 2, 2, 3. This becomes a 0 with a 2, 4, 3, 3. And this is gonna cascade once more, because this becomes a 0, with this becoming a 1 and this becoming a 4. This becomes this becomes a 4. Once you see a 4 connected to a bunch of 3s, it's gonna create an entire cascade. So yeah. This 4 becomes 0 with a 2 here and a 1 here. This becomes a 0 with a 4, 3, 2, 3 here. This becomes a 0 with 4, 3, 1, 3 here. This becomes a 0 with a 1 here, 4 here. This becomes a 0 with a 1 here and a 4 here. This becomes a 0 with a 1, 2, and a 4 here, and this becomes a 0 with a 1, 2, and 1 here. Now, the lowest value present is a 0, and there's only one of it. It is in a different row and column as the other two presses, so it is valid. We can just eat it, and that solves the module. Now, note that the order in which you just filter out the 4s and turn them into 0s, cascading all of its values to the neighbors, the order doesn't really matter, since it's basically addition and subtraction, and once it's higher than 4, it will never get lower than 4 unless it cascades. Order in this process doesn't matter at all. Let's do another example. So this has 2, 2, 0, 0, 1, 3, 0, 0, 3, 1, 0, wait, no, 3, 0, 2, 2, 0, 2, 3, 2. Note that you can always hover over these to get their colors, because orange and yellow may not always be as easily distinguishable. Anyway, first valid bean in reading order is this bean. We increment all values by 1. Now we cascade the 4s again. Let's start with this one. It's 2, 2, 3. This 4 becomes a 0. These two become 4s. This becomes a 2. This becomes a 3. This becomes a 0. This becomes a 4. This becomes a 1. This becomes a 0. This becomes a 1. This becomes a 2. This becomes a 5. This becomes a 1. This becomes a 1. This becomes a 1. And then finally, this 4 becomes a 0. These 3 become 4s. This 4 can become a 0. This would be a 3, 4, 1. This becomes a 0. This becomes a 2, 3, 5, and a 1. This becomes a 0. This becomes 2 and a 4. This becomes a 0. This becomes a 1, 6, 2. Finally, this becomes a 2 with 1, 3, 1, and 3 there. Lowest value present on the module is a 1. The first valid 1 in reading order can't be in the first row, so it's this one here. And that's the second press. The module always solves on the third press, so we have one more stage to go. 2, 2, 2, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2. And then this becomes a 0, this becomes a 4, this becomes a 3. This becomes a 0, this becomes a 3, this becomes a 1, this becomes a 0, this becomes a 4, this becomes a 4, this becomes a 3, this becomes a 0, this becomes a 2, a 4, and a 1. This becomes a 0, this becomes 1, 5, 5, and a 1 here. This becomes a 0, this becomes 6, 6, 4. This becomes a 0, this becomes a 1, a 3, a 3. This becomes 2 with a 3, 2, and a 1 surrounding it. This becomes a 2 with 2, 3, 4, and 2 here. Then finally, this becomes a 0 with 3 and a 1 here and a 4 here, and this becomes a 0, this becomes a 3, this becomes a 1. Note that the lowest value will always be present outside of a row or column that already has a pressed bean in it. So if a 0 would be here instead of here, that wouldn't be able to generate. The lowest value is always present outside of the rows and columns of already pressed beans. And when we solve, we solve the module when we press the last bean. And that's how you do chili beans. I hope this tutorial helps, and thank you for watching.